Symposiumon February 18, 2021 at 11:41 amPresident Lyndon Johnson, Martin Luther King Jr., and Rosa Parks at the signing of the Voting Rights Act on August 6, 1965. LBJ Library photo by Yoichi Okamoto. This article is part of a symposium on the upcoming argument in Brnovich v. Democratic National Committee. Our case preview is here. LaShawn Warren is Executive Vice President of Government Affairs at the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, which filed an amicus brief in support of the Democratic National Committee. 6 weeks after the close of an election cycle marred by Republican efforts to exclude black and brown voters, the Supreme Court will hear oral argument in a significant voting rights case. For generations, the court has recognized that the heart of America's vibrant democracy is the right to vote free from discrimination. In Brnovich v. DNC, the court must once more affirm that there is no place for racism in our elections by striking down Arizona's racially discriminatory voting laws. Congress passed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to outlaw racial discrimination in voting. Previously, many states barred black voters from participating in the political system through literacy tests, poll taxes, voter intimidation and violence. In the mid-1950s, only 25% of African Americans were registered to vote, and the registration rate was even lower in some states. Those rates soared after Congress enacted the VRA. By 1970, almost as many African Americans registered to vote in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, North Carolina and South Carolina as had registered in the century before 1965. The VRA became the nation's most effective defense against racially discriminatory voting policies. That changed in 2013, when 5 justices of the Supreme Court gutted Section 5 of the VRA in Shelby County v. Holder. That powerful provision had enabled the federal government to block states and localities with a history of discrimination from adopting voting changes that could disenfranchise voters of color. In its absence, Republicans are hacking away at voting rights. This year alone, legislators in 33 states have already introduced more than 165 bills to restrict voting access, according to an analysis by the Brennan Center for Justice. Brnovich brings the VRA before the court once more, and this time, Section 2 hangs in the balance. This provision prohibits state and local governments from imposing voting laws that result in racial or language discrimination. It also allows people and organizations to challenge those voting restrictions in court. That's exactly what happened in Arizona. In 2016, a group of Arizona voters in the Democratic Party filed suit to challenge 2 Arizona policies as discriminatory. Earlier that year, the Arizona legislature had placed limits on who could provide ballot collection assistance to male voters.